I'm Laura Kong and I'm going to present the result of the needs analysis and the English placement test that I applied to a group of 7th grade students in Institución Educativa Alto located in the rural area of San Carlos, Córdoba. The group consists of 22 students. In this contest, English is taught in a rural environment where exposure to the language outside the school is limited. Because of that, getting to know how students feel about English and how they interact with the language is essential for developing teaching strategies that fully support their learning. The diagnostic process includes two stages, and the first stage was the needs analysis. I applied a survey with 10 multiple choice questions, and the questionnaire was presented in Spanish to make sure the students could fully understand it. Now I will explain the results obtained in needs analysis. So the result shows that most students, 40.9%, feel that English is regular, while 13.6% consider it sometimes difficult. Only 9.1% think it's very easy, and 13.6% see it as very difficult. This indicates that the students have a generally positive attitude, but they still recognize challenges. Regarding speaking, half of the group, 50%, feel a little nervous, and listening was identified as the most difficult skill by 40.9% of the students. This suggests they need more exposure to spoken English in class. So students mostly use English outside school through music and video, 45.5%, showing that contact with the language happens mainly for entertainment. They prefer games and songs, 45.5%, as classroom activities and oral feedback, 54.5%, instead of writing coverage. And finally, the aspect they most want to improve are pronunciation or speaking, 36.4%, and vocabulary, 31.8%. And they expect that the teacher to explain solely, 36.4%, and include more games and songs, 45.5%. They highlight the importance of using dynamic, supporting, and confident building strategies in class. So here I will share it with you in the video the complete image of the results table with all the questions and presents one by one. Since due to the deadline in the video I cannot explain them all. So the second step was an English placement test. This test had 20 multiple choices questions that evaluate the four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So let's start by talking about each skill one by one. So first, let's begin with listening. In this session, students reached an average score of 3.8 out of 5, which is actually good result considering their contest. It is important to mention that in this institution, teachers don't usually carry out many listening activities. The focus is more in reading and writing. So despite this limitation, students perform quite well. They were able to understand the main ideas, even if they sometimes struggle with details or no vocabulary. Now, in relation with to the DBH, which is participates in conversations about familiar topics, and the standard, we can say that this DBA was partially achieved. Students demonstrate that they can understand basic spoken English when the topic is familiar, but they still need more practice with real listening tasks, listen songs, dialogues, or short videos to feel more confident and develop this skill further. So moving on to writing, there was the lowest score with an average of 2.3 out of 5, and it surprised me because this is supposed that in this institution the focus is in writing and reading, but here students show that they can write simple tenses, but they still have trouble connecting ideas or using correct grammar and verb tense. So now, according to the DBAs, write short and simple tests about familiar experiences and plans. This DBS was not achieved But so even though they can express your ideas, they need more like guiding writing activities and models to organize and discover and expand their writing, writing fluency. Now let's talk about speaking, which was one of the stronger skills with an average of 4 out of 5. The result is quite interesting because according to the needs analysis, most students say they feel nervous when speaking English. However, they still perform well in this skill. One possible explanation is that in the placement test, students didn't actually speak. They question were like writing, but many of the requirement thinking about what they could say in real life. For example, one question say, "What are you doing after class?" A student had to choose from answers like, "I'm going to home" or "I'm playing soccer." Even like that, it was an oral conversation. It involved mental speaking and understanding everyday situations and imagine that they could say, which connect directly to this skill. So according to the DBA, give and receive simple instruction, recommendations, and suggestions, and is a standard related to monologue and conversation. We can say that it was partially achieved. Students were able to express ideas and give basic response, but they still need to increase their vocabulary and confidence in real speaking situations. Finally, we have reading, which obtained the highest average score 4.3 out of 5. Students show great comprehension of short familiar tales, and this perfectly reflects the focus in the institution English classes, which are mainly based on reading and writing. According to DBA, describe options and relate to familiar or school topics, and it's a standard understanding literacy, academic or general tests about writing with simple language. This DBI was successful achieved because the students show a clear reading comprehension skills and use strategies like identify keywords and recognize familiar concepts, which help them perform very well in this. So, in general terms, students reach basic intermediate level A1, A2. Their strongest keyword reading and speaking, while their weakest one word writing and listening. And all the DBS were partially achieved, except for reading, which was fully accomplished. These results show that the students understand familiar information and can express simple ideas, but they still need to practice grammar, vocabulary, and spontaneous communication to reach a more complete English level.